Hey Dan, welcome to the GAC RMHC Golf Classic. Just want to give you an opportunity here to view your swing at regular speed. We'll let that play on three. We'll put you back in your dress position, and we'll go ahead and take a look at a few things for you. So while we got you back here in your setup, let's go ahead and take a look at your posture. See here that your spine's relatively straight, not a nice tilt. Legs come down into a nicely unlocked position. Arms hang down nice and naturally off your tilted spine. The club works out to the ball, so achieving some pretty solid posture there in association with good balance. Let's go ahead and take a look at your alignment. Now, theoretically, you got your feet in quite a closed stance. If we carry that out towards the fairway, theoretically, club face is supposed to run parallel to your feet. Parallel lines on camera would have an appearance to converge. Under that scenario, we can see that you're sort of set up to hit the ball into sort of the corner of the body of water there. Now, as we take a look at your feet, we can see that the rest of your body, like your knees, your hips, your forearms, and your shoulders, are not running in the same direction as your as your feet. So if we were to carry those lines out, we can see that that's a little bit more towards the center of the fairway. And if we base the club face off that, converging, then we're set up obviously a lot more towards our intended target. So, with you dropping your right foot back, as long as your club face isn't square to your feet and your club face is more square to your knees, hips, shoulders, and arms, then we're pretty much set up at the blue flag and sort of right of center of the fairway, which isn't a problem. Let's go ahead and do a little split screen comparison between you and Jordan Spieth. We've got some color-coded lines on the screen just to use as a visual reference as it pertains to swing plane. So you can see that postures are quite similar, but we do see that obviously the foot positioning is quite different there. But the knees, hips, shoulders, and arms are looking good. Let's go ahead and watch Jordan draw the golf club back, which he does with good, turning his shoulders, drawing his arms and hands back, excuse me, as well as his golf club. And we see the club coming back directly along the red line on plane. At about this standpoint, we're going to want to incorporate some good wrist hinge into play, where we're going to transition the club head from having been below and in front of our hands to now having it above and behind our hands. Okay? And then from here we want to work the golf club from red up towards the blue-yellow V zone. When we finally get the golf club at the top of the swing, we either want to have the left arm and the club situated on the yellow line, somewhere in between the blue-yellow V zone, or physically up on blue, as we can see with Jordan Spieth. We also want to create full shoulder rotation, and we want to do this about a very stable right leg, all the while maintaining the posture and spinal axis we achieved at address. Let's watch you initiate your takeaway here. Draw your hands back beautifully, turn in your shoulders. Golf club's coming back on a beautiful swing plane. At this point, starts to move maybe a little bit out in front. So we've got to see you create wrist hinge and let the club head fall in behind your hands for the club to recover. So let's see the club fall back in behind you here. So good job right there. Let's work this right up to the top. When we finally set the arms at the top of the backswing, we can see that you've got good shoulder rotation, stable right side, maintaining your posture and your spinal axis. We do get the left arm definitely up a little bit on top of the blue line, so you get your arm set a little bit steep. The club obviously overswings a little too, gets a little bit out of position, so could use a little bit of fine-tuning with your arms and your club at the top of your backswing, because now you're going to have to refine that club to bring that club back into the ball from an on-plane position. As we create our transition back in the balls, we can see with Jordan Spieth, simply want to move our weight from our right foot to our left, fire our knees and our hips laterally to the target, unwind the core and fire the hands. And doing so, we got to make sure we're bringing the golf club from wherever we set it within that blue-yellow V zone, and we're bringing the golf club back down onto red. And that's exactly what we can see here with Jordan Spieth. The golf club has returned back to being on plane. The other thing we want to observe at this stage of the golf swing is the relationship between the lead forearm and the golf club. Refer to this as the backwards check mark. It simply means the club head is remaining above and behind his hands coming into the hitting zone. And this is ultimately what's going to allow us to create a lot of power in our golf swing. Aside from the fact that he's also going to hit the ball straight due to the fact that, again, the club has returned back to plane, which is a main criteria in order to produce straight golf shots. So let's go ahead and watch your transition back into the ball here. Feet, knees, hips moving, that's great. Hands are dropping back to the inside, so this is awesome. So we're bringing the golf club, at least we're bringing it back to the blue, yellow V zone. That's wonderful. We're also dropping it back down towards red, so this is great. So basically, we can take a look at this pre-impact position. We can look at your lead form and your club, and notice that we have your backwards check mark, and so creating power in the golf swing won't be an issue. And we also see the club is starting to return back to plane. The only thing that I see here with your pre-impact position, though, is that the club shaft is starting to lay off too much. It's probably going to drop now down and underneath your swing plane. So let's go ahead and track the club head coming into the ball. We'll mark yours there. Again, we can see with Jordan his club return back to plane here, and then simply his approaches the ball directly from this red line. So as I stated earlier, this is what produces straight golf shots in accordance to our alignment, lastly assuming that the club face squares up via having a good grip. So in your next frame, club's going to fall underneath the swing plane. There it is there. And it's going to approach the ball too far from the inside. So if we go ahead and just sort of connect these dots, we can get a pretty good visual as to how that club came into the ball. Now, approaching the ball from underneath your plane is better than approaching your ball from over the top and outside, which most people do. So because your feet are aimed out to the right and you're coming from underneath the plane, the concern is obviously lastly the club face has to square up. So if your club face doesn't square up, you're going to block the ball to the right, and you will find that you do block golf shots to the right at times when we don't square the club face up. So let's go ahead and get rid of those lines. Let's see what your club face does in this particular swing. So it definitely shuts down. So this is great, and the club face has to do that because the club is attacking too far from the inside and your feet are aiming too far out to the right. So if this club face doesn't aggressively shut down and therefore sort of pull the ball back towards the intended target, we just hope now that we don't impart too much right to left spin. So what we can see here is we can see the ball right at the tip of that arrow, and the ball is basically being hit right back towards our intended target. So we can actually see that ball for as long as till about right there. Okay, so that ball's flying in a good space. Might be just at the corner edge of that water, so hopefully it's got a little bit of right to left spin, and then that ball can hopefully work a little bit away from that water's edge, and obviously the golf shot's definitely going to turn out. I mean, overall, you've got some great athletic qualities in your golf swing here. I mean, you bring your hands back and you fire them through. You've got good coil. You coil back, you uncoil through. You've got good footwork that allows you to get through to a good finish. Your posture balance is great to start with. Your backswing is very nice. It obviously overswings just a little bit at the top. Downswing's awesome, where you reroute the hands back to the inside and you get the club coming from the inside. But yeah, I mean, your foot alignment's out to the right. You drop the club down and underneath. So really at the end of the day, it's really going to come down to what you do with this club face. So when this club face comes back into the golf ball, if we leave it open, we block it right. We over-release it, we hook it too far left. If we time it okay, we're going to hit some fairly straight golf shots that produce, if it's not straight, then it's going to produce a nice soft draw or a soft fade. And you will see those varying tendencies with your golf shots due to the fact that you are having to use your hands to precisely put that club face in a perfect position to be able to get the ball to go where you want it to go. Okay, but overall, really good looking golf swing here from you. Great job. Anyways, if at any point in time you ever want to fine tune any of these aspects of your golf game, I'm located over at Glen Abbey in Oakville. Be happy to structure a little program for you. Also, if you're involved with any golf tournaments at all and you're looking for a unique gift to provide the guests, feel free to touch base. I'd be happy to discuss my swing analysis services. Anyways, again, hope you had a fantastic day, and hope you enjoyed getting an opportunity to see your swing on video. Take care.